This is Radio TV Phono Nut, and on today's episode of applying a lipstick to a pig, we have this unknown branded classroom record player. You've seen it a couple of times before in previous videos. I was trying to sell it on eBay without luck. And just to give you a little background for those who may not have seen the videos on this, this is obviously the cheapest classroom record player ever made. It uses a 3-speed BSR drive mechanism, little puny, little 2 or 3 transistor solid state amplifier. No manufacturer's markings on it whatsoever. The only thing I found was a 77 date code on the speaker. The tone arm was some cheap thing that was very floppy, and whenever you placed it on a record, it leaned to one side, so I took that off, and I found this kitty tone arm with a flip-over crystal cartridge in my stash. Well, this is a much nicer tone arm. It doesn't lean to the side, and as you can see, all of this back here is really nice. This is metal. This is not plastic crap like the other one was. Well, it got the job done, but it just still didn't sounded okay, but just didn't sound too good. So I tried to sell the thing on eBay anyway. It didn't sell. Imagine that. Somebody even asked me if this was made by Crosley. I think they were just trying to be a smart butt, but honestly, I don't know who made it, but you know, if it makes you happy, we'll print out a Crosley decal and slap it on the inside of the lid of this. So, you know, actually we can make it anything you want to. I can print out an Outwater Kent decal and put on the lid if you'd like. But anyway, tried to sell this. It didn't sell, so I said, what the heck, we're going to have fun with this. So I removed the old cartridge and was going to mount one of my new old stock crystal cartridges. We have this Fansteel P326, which is a Ronette cartridge, a pretty nice one actually for what they are. And then we have this other Ronette cartridge that the shaft is a good bit smaller and longer than this one. Well, guess what? Wouldn't neither one of them fit the tone arm. This shaft is too big. This shaft is too small. The set screw and the original flipper knob wouldn't obviously fit on either shaft. So we said, what the heck? We're going to have a little fun with this. We're going to modernize this. We're going to make it better. Now, before you start screaming and talking about a hack repair job, this is only temporary. This is a Crosley cartridge, and yes, I have the wires directly soldered to the cartridge, and I have it just held in the tone arm by friction. Whenever I get ready to mount a permanent cartridge, it'll be super glued in place, and I plan on using a Fansteel P228 with a flip needle for LP and 78, but this right here, right now, is just for testing purposes. And it actually has better tonal quality with this cartridge, but since this cartridge only puts out something like 0.3 volts, and the original cartridge was something in the order of 2 to 3 volts, then obviously the volume is going to be a good bit weaker. Now, the audio processing on this camera is going to be kind of hard to deal with, so you'll just have to notice the dot on the knob as I turn it up, and it'll give you an idea about when we get decent listening volume. Actually, we don't get decent listening volume. You have to turn it up all the way, and you know, if you're standing right on top of it, it's okay, but if you get a distance away from it, it won't be too good. Alright, here we go. See, that's halfway up, and I can just barely hear it. That's all the way up. And that's kind of okay, but you shouldn't have to turn it all the way up to get reasonable listening volume. So here's a little FET preamp board that I made for another project and ended up not using it, so I'm going to figure out a way to mount it in this record player without it looking tacky. And that should give us enough boost to give us decent audio output without having to crank the volume wide open. And yes, this probably will eventually go back on eBay. Probably not right now. We'll probably wait a little while when when wallets start opening up again. But I'll forewarn you, it's not going to be $50 anymore. It's going to be closer to $100 this time, because you know, when I'm having to buy an extra cartridge, which is about $25, including shipping, and the time and parts involved building this little preamp module, and given what I've already got invested in this thing as far as monetary and labor, if I can't get $100 out of it, then it's really not, I might as well just keep the thing. And when I get through with it, it'll certainly be better than it ever was from the factory, and will surely be better than a Crosley Cruiser that people don't seem to have a problem paying $80 and $100 and up for. So like I've talked about before, they'll go down to the used record store and pay $129.95 for a Crosley Cruiser, but look at something like this for $75 or $100 and turn their nose up at it. Okay, let's see what we have to do here. Of course, we're going to have to clean this up. This is kind of sloppy looking. White cartridge wire is ground. That obviously goes to circuit ground. Our red cartridge wire is hot. It goes over here to one leg of the volume control. Bottom leg of the volume control goes to circuit ground. Center leg of the volume control comes out, and one end connects to a film capacitor. The other end of that capacitor goes to the rest of the amplifier circuit. So we need to remove this film capacitor from the circuit. Get it out of there. That's going to be our breaking point where we install the preamp module. Okay, we have the preamp module installed. Yes, it looks a little sloppy, but it's the best I can do with what I've got to work with. I just simply use stranded hookup wire, and tinned it really well so it'd be more solid, ran some heat shrink tubing over it, and soldered it to the board, and we're using the wire as supports to hold the little preamp module in place. No more than it weighs. I don't think it'll be a problem. Okay, we're fixing to give it another round. Now pay attention to the dot on the knob. It's at minimum volume. Now that's halfway up. And if you compare to what we showed on the first portion of this video, it is a good bit louder. And when we turn it all the way up, the amp starts distorting, so we're hitting that as stout as we can hit it. Now keep in mind, this amp's probably only good for probably no more than 1 watt, and that's pushing it. And you know, that's as loud as it's going to get. We can drive the input with a hotter signal, but all it's going to do is produce distortion, and if it's distorted, that's not doing us any good anyway. But this does get considerably louder, I believe, even louder than it was with the crystal pickup cartridge in it, and it certainly has better tonal quality. So yeah, once I put the correct cartridge in here, the P228, which will be a tad bit hotter than the one that's in here, this thing will definitely be a better record player than it was when it left the factory. Like I said before, if this doesn't make it more valuable, then it can just stay here, because I'm not giving it away. Okay, here we are with a Fansteel P228 cartridge installed. And I had to use one of the tall mounting brackets, not the standard bracket that it comes with. I happen to have one of the tall mounting brackets that I got from somewhere. And if you don't have one, the VM site has them, and I noticed eBay also has them, but you know, you really need to order one of the tall brackets so it'll fit in here properly. And I just had the bracket super glued to the tone arm. If I needed to pop it out, I could, but I don't foresee this cartridge needing to come out anytime in the foreseeable future, so there shouldn't be no problems there. Alright, let's put it all back together, and hopefully this will be done and ready to play some records. Okay, one other thing before I put it back together. I neatened up all these wires that are running every which way and were too long. these wires going to the speakers are the solid core wire that breaks off really easily. In fact, one of them's already broken off and I had to resolder it, so to give it some strain relief I taped everything up and it looks much neater now. I don't have to fight with wires running every which direction to get the motor board put back in. Alright, let's put it back together and see if it'll play. Okay, get that off of here. I hear print stuff is a no-no, so we don't need that going too long. Okay, what I thought would happen. You recall me saying the original Crosley cartridge was 0.3 volts output. This one I put in here is 0.8 volts, and I could tell that it was a little too hot, so I have a 0.002 capacitor paralleled across the cartridge input. That should pad it down just a little bit. Okay, that's pushing it about as far as we can go with it. Well, that was cute. Okay, I'd say this one's ready to get its screws put back in it and sent home. It's ready to go somewhere, or keep here, whatever I choose to do with it. But it's certainly now a better quality phono than it was from the back.
Any night, any day, in your heart.
Alright, there you go. Thanks for watching, and
I'm aware,
more to come later.
I'm aware.